Welcome back to Live Crepetto Show. It's great to have a crowd here from Bowen Heads. What a great looking crowd.
Phil's in the toilet. We
Phil's
picked
in
off.
You talk.
Well, Phil's in the toilet. We shouldn't have started yet. But I did notice you playing with his phone. He left it unlocked, just while he was in the can. And I mean, the porn on there alone is amazing. But then when we went into his emails, look at this. What's this?
So all the cool kids now, when their mates go to the toilet, they hack each other's phones. So BJ and I decided we'd hack.
I already took a picture of my dick on it. So. Sorry.
BJ,
there are children.
What is BJ? No, let's... And...
My meds are wearing off.
Wow.
Sorry. I know, look at this.
Wow. I sound like Norm Douglas. He says wow and wow and wow.
He does.
Can you read it out to us, BJ?
It says... Is he coming back yet? No. Hi, Phil. Do you have a comment on the Velo News article published today, which contains a sworn testimony from Lance Armstrong that Jim, I can't say that name,
Okowitz,
that guy, orchestrated the 1993 Triple Crown win and that you negotiated some package with Coors Light. Now, Phil was a handsome young man back then. I'm betting he negotiated several packages. Oh, shit.
What's going on here, boys?
Nothing. We're just talking about the tour. Quick.
Phil just came out of the toilet. How's our method acting going, by the way?
Pretty good.
Phil just came out of the toilet with the... do you often go into the toilet and come out with the yellow jersey on?
Well...
Only when he wins in there.
We just saw some shit on your phone. They're not saying nice things about you.
Oh, this crap comes in all the time.
Really?
Yeah, it does. Oh, look, it's...
So, hey, let's go backwards a bit. Jim Okowitz, he was your team director.
Yeah.
And Lance Armstrong won 3 races in a row in America, which Coors Light, a beer company, really, really bad beer.
Terrible beer.
Terrible beer.
Shocking
Americans can't make
Yeah.
beer. They put up $1 million. Lance won it. They're saying that maybe Lance orchestrated the whole thing and you were involved.
They said you may have negotiated a package.
A package. I was on Lance's team, so it was... it was another era then, but Lance was... he was a young kid. It actually... it all came together in that Philadelphia race, which was the last race of 3 in a series. And if one rider won all 3 of these events, there was $1 million up for grab.
And what year are we talking?
93.
So $1 million in 93, that's a lot of smackaroos.
That's a lot.
Can you say that?
You have to say $1 million.
$1 million. That's
it's a lot now.
In 2015,
it's bugger all now.
People
get you half a house in Melbourne.
Hipsters would say that's a lot.
Robbie McEwen carries that in his jeans now.
Norm Douglas would say that's a lot of clams. It's a lot of clams. $1 million.
So Lance won the first. I think it was a tour of West Virginia.
Tour of Norlane.
Norlane, that's
Tour
it.
of Norlane. You heard it here first.
And so already after the first race, only one person can win if they're going to go for the Grand Slam.
Did everyone work that out?
Very quickly. So we roll up to the next race. A week later, there was one event every week, or there's a week in between. The Tour of West Virginia was like a 5-day race. We turn up to the next one, and there were some international teams, but a lot of domestic teams, a bit like the Shackley team, and one of the teams was the Coors Light, which was possibly the best domestic.
Malcolm Elliott was he?
Yeah, Malcolm Elliott. Yeah.
Anyone remember Malcolm Elliott? He was cool. I liked Malcolm.
Yeah,
Elliott.
he won a lot of races.
Very good over there.
Yeah.
Coors Light, good team, bad beer.
The Silver Bullet.
The Silver Bullet. That's right. So there's maybe 20 teams.
Like Shackley,
there.
they called us the Rubber Bullet.
So there may be 20 teams, and they weren't huge teams. There may be teams of 6 or 7 riders, and already riders are coming up and say, "Do you want a hand to help the race, to help win this race?" And we're
Need a hand negotiating your package.
So we said, "No, we're here to win. We've got the riders to win. We can do it easily." So we go out and we do the second race, and Lance won that. So now it comes down to the last third and final race.
The smart ones then went, hang on, if he's won 2, then only one guy can probably win this Triple Crown.
So each of these 3 races are a race in their own the $1 million thing was a totally separate deal.
And sorry, Phil, to interrupt you. While this was going on, was there something? There's been accusations that something happened in Italy ahead of race 3. Is that where the timing is? Or
No, I think that was...
This is
something
before
was going
Roberto
later.
Gaggioli went gluten-free.
They call him gluten-free Gaggioli.
What, gluten-free Gag?
So
That's what
tell
they
us
call
what
him.
happened with Roberto.
No, but
What's-
anyway...
what is rumoured to have happened?
I guess since Lance started winning tours, he's been a target for all sorts of things. Some rightly, some wrongly. But anyway, he's supposedly been roped into race fixing, besides the doping. And
Match fixing with the cricket as well. I heard he was involved in that.
That's right.
Yeah,
He had a finger in every pie.
Lance and Steve Waugh
That's right.
fixing cricket.
Ansi Cronje.
But
Thick as thieves, those guys.
yeah, so there's this accusation about the race fixing in for the third and final race, that there was, and that's the story that came out last week. It's actually been out for a long, long time, and I think it first came to head when Swart came out and explained, I think under oath, there was some race fixing. Now I was interviewed not long after Lance went down because my name came up, and I couldn't remember, and I was honest when I said that because they're talking about this was out of the blue. I couldn't remember anything of it at the time, and it's not something that I could recall at the time. But this sort of thing does happen in racing. Occasionally, you call on some friendships. When you're out there with 200 riders and you've got 198 guys chasing you down, there's another guy there, and he's saying, listen, I can give you a hand. I need you to help me tomorrow. I'll help you today. Sometimes it comes down. Sometimes it's a team thing. If you're on the yellow jersey and teams are coming up to you and saying, if you let us win today, we'll help you tomorrow. We'll help defend the yellow jersey if you let one of our riders win the stage today. Deals do go on the road, and they have gone down, and they will always go down. I admit that. Now, I couldn't remember exactly, what went down. They put my name in there because, I was a good friend of Lance, and we were roommates. And
Dating his mum.
Dating his mum. That had nothing to do with it. but yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I get a call on it from time to time, and, it's something which... I get sick of explaining, but yeah.
If there was $1 million and only 200 riders, why didn't they just split it equally amongst all the riders? Then no one ever would have talked. That would have been way better, wouldn't it?
Can you understand though, Phil? Like hearing you tell the story is amazing, but to me, it sounds like I'll help you today if you help me tomorrow is a lot different from let's win $1 million. When they throw that figure in there, it sounds like it's a lot more serious than it was at taking the tradition of I'll help you if you help me to another level. A level too far.
Yeah,
If it
deals have gone
If it
down, through the years. Sometimes, a rider will suddenly get a really sweet contract the next year. He'll be on a really good team. He'll come out of nowhere. You've got teams which will ride in that race who possibly didn't have an annual budget of the sorts of figures they're talking about throwing around. They're talking about a payoff of 100,000, which I find hard to believe. Like I certainly couldn't remember any figures, but there's possibly, I don't know what the team of the Shackley team was, the budget of the team.
Well,
like
I'll
Shackley.
say certainly nobody offered me any money, but that's probably because I couldn't influence the outcome of that race in any way, shape, or form.
But it's I would imagine it's still going on. That those sort of arrangements are going on this way, if it's financial or otherwise. In this end of the millennium.
So some serious coin clams exchanged for race wins.
Clams for race wins. Yeah. Well, sometimes it's clams. Other times it's jerseys.
So and you know, when you're talking about a sprint or whatever, I'll help you, you help me. That seems okay. Like even when I when I put my Waleed Harley moral hat on, I go, yeah, I'm okay with that. But when we're talking, would we ever see something like Chris Froome needs a bit of help in the mountains? Alberto Contador's having a shocking tour and he's coming 28th. Would we see someone like a Contador maybe pull some turns on the front for Froome for a bit of cash?
Oh, I think it's going to be interesting this year, Froome, or next year, 2016. Watching Froome and his old teammate. They're going to be racing against each other.
Richie Porte.
With Richie Porte. So it's going to be, and that's a friendship thing, and it's hard when you're when you're racing against your mates, and that's the other thing. Your relationships can change. Well, not necessarily, but it's difficult because you're racing with your mates, and you've got a duty to your team, which and sometimes you've got to not knock your mates off, but you've got to hold them back. You've got to hold them in the gutter. Your part of your job is to slow certain riders down. And
is this part of why Lance was so good? Is because he didn't have any mates?
But then 5 minutes later, the situation in the race, and this is the wonderful thing about racing, how quickly it can all change. The whole thing's changed. There's been a crash, or there's a change of wind direction, race direction, and suddenly you find yourself in a break with somebody else. That 2 minutes ago you're holding them back. And the combination of riders and the group has totally changed, and suddenly the dynamics of the group and deals are called off and made, and I was always told never to make any enemies in the bunch.
So last question about this. Is there a part of you that, cycling's made a lot of effort to move forward away from the Lance thing and all of that saga. Is there a part of you that really hopes you stop getting emails from Velo News asking questions about stuff that happened a long time ago?
Oh, no. Look, everybody's always looking for an angle, for a story, confirmation. This is all pretty serious. Goes down with, race fixing or, not embezzlement, but, corruption within the sport. And, they're trying to nail anybody they can. And Lance is obviously an easy target at the moment. And, back then that's what happened. I'm not saying the drug thing bloody happened. I was glad to be not part of that, but they're looking for other angles now, and that whole $1 million was underwritten by an insurance company, and so I think it's too late for them to try and get their money back. But there's the weather money was spent a long time ago, obviously, it's now I've forgotten the train.
I think the money was spent on a date with Sheryl Crow.
It could.
Do you think, Phil, I don't know, this is just personally for me, that the media has gone a little bit too far on board? Yes, we want to clean up all sports, but, and this is, I'm getting serious for a second here, Adam. At a certain point, do you think, exactly, the media now have sort of turned this into like, almost like, if it bleeds, it leads, like the more gutsy and gory the story, the better. Do you think this is sort of slowly destroying some of the heroes that cycling actually really needs?
Yeah, it's, there hasn't been too many involved now, and I think we've moved on, and now I think the concentration is onto the current generation, and the Sagans and Delicob, and there's a new energy out there, and I think we've sort of moved on from that. Lance is an easy target, and Floyd Landers, is trying to recoup some of his expenses, and the federal.
I'm still trying to get money off Robbie for the Port Pirie wheel race. Let's face it, that's never coming back.